Don't blame challenges you encounter, but rather see it as a way to reach the success that you want. Challenge has been on my mind a lot since I picked up Kovacs and started AIM training. Anytime you learn something new, you're going to be met with a series of challenges in your pursuit of improving that skill. But challenge isn't a bad thing. In fact, it's the only way that we can learn to do new things or get better at things. And this has been at the forefront of my mind over the last week as I've been pushing myself a little bit more in the AIM trainer to try to challenge my skills. I've done this by raising my sensitivity just a little bit. And what that has shown me is that my wrist and finger aiming is not as developed as my arm aiming. So raising that sensitivity has really made me take a step back in the scores that I'm seeing in some of the playlists, but it's challenging me in a motor pattern using my fingers and my wrist to aim that I didn't have. And I would say that comes from the fact that I played on a lower sensitivity in Destiny 2 for a few years, just trying to use most of my mouse pad on my desk because I wasn't comfortable with the wrist and fingertip aiming. But moved the sensitivity up a tenth of a point on 800 DPI to 1.4, so we went down from 40 centimeters per 360 down to about 37.5 centimeters per 360. So not a terribly huge increase, but it has been enough to make me feel uncomfortable in the same scenarios and drills that I was feeling pretty comfortable with at the entry, bronze, silver level beforehand. So been running the same playlist, the Voltaic Daily Improvement Method, with some supplemental scenarios that I put together myself that mainly revolve around static and smooth tracking, because what I'm finding is with the higher sensitivity, the mouse control that I did have that was becoming more smooth has now reverted back to feeling jittery in scenarios of precision. So anything with a smaller tracking component like control sphere, smooth sphere, precise sphere, or the smaller 6-target, one wall 6-target scenarios. So over the past week using this higher sensitivity, it has been a struggle to try to remind myself to manage the tension appropriately and really just relax into the movements I'm making, especially when the jitteriness starts happening in AIM. I'll try to tell myself, relax into it during the scenario. And what this is doing is providing some internal cueing and internal feedback that then translates to an external task. And it's just been shown over and over again in the realm of neuroscience that when you pair intrinsic instruction to an external goal, you're going to learn faster. So what that would mean is something like I just mentioned, where I say relax into it as we're following a bot, or smooth flicks during static scenarios. And that's really helped me over the last couple of days, and we're putting up higher scores now with the higher sensitivity than I did have prior with the lower sensitivity. But keep in mind, scores aren't everything. Improvement is really being focused on improving the technique of aiming and the overall feel of it. And I know if that happens, then the scores will eventually come as we get better. So embracing that challenge. At first, when I changed sensitivities, I had the knee-jerk reaction like most people do, changing anything that's uncomfortable, is, oh, I just want to go back to the way I had it. I was doing better with that. But I understand that challenging the different aspects of aiming that I was weak at is the only way to get better. So I stuck with the sensitivity, and even in scenarios and days that weren't all that great the past couple weeks, I stuck with it, and it's starting to pay off. So I'm excited to see how that continues to go. And with challenge, I also have noticed a lot of discourse in multiple gaming communities about challenges in their first-person shooter multiplayer games. You know, it's become a bit of a meme and almost taken on a bit of a cult following to talk about skill-based matchmaking in multiplayer games now, and how the notion of playing other people at your skill level is somehow undesirable these days. And That's a bit of a foreign idea for me, seeing as how the era that I grew up playing first-person shooter games, the early Halos, Gears of War, there was a lot of close, skilled matching, and that was what was viewed as fun. You didn't want to get online and just stomp on people and have easy matches, because that, in a way, that's very boring, but that seems to be what a lot of people in gaming communities now really want, and it's starting to manifest a bit in games that I'm currently playing in voice chat and text chat. Just this past couple days in Marvel Rivals, you have people hammering away their keyboards telling you to go get a job if you beat them, or not showing very good sportsmanship. So that's a bit of a concept that I don't personally agree with, and I'm just curious to see where that shift has come over the last few years. It even seems back in 2016, 2017, playing Halo 5, the early days of Fortnite, that's what people wanted. You wanted to be challenged in a game to improve your skills, because that's where the fun came from. But I'd be curious to know if any of you have noticed this shift in gaming, your opinion on it, and what are some of the potential reasons. I get that games are supposed to be fun, but I'd love to explore that difference in where a challenge and being competitive stops being fun for people. Is it more of a mindset thing? Is it more of a frustration boiling over from being used to the other sort of casual matchmaking in the last 10 years or so? I'm not really sure. I personally still enjoy close games, challenging games that really make you think, if I had just made this one play, or had this one different thought process, or if I just hit this one shot, let's go work on that now, we would have won that game. To me, that's thrilling, and that's part of the allure of multiplayer shooter games. So that's probably a topic we'll explore a little deeper at a later time, but as far as this episode, really embracing the challenge, just going into it with an open mind, trying to learn, trying to get better, and that's something that I can't see myself stopping anytime soon. This last month, or 3 weeks rather, of starting to learn mouse and keyboard aiming has been a total rush for me, and it's even more rewarding when you see it translate over into the games you're playing. So that's it for this episode. We'll check back next time, hopefully have some more improvement.